Ishu. Thank you very, very much. I think, yeah, thank you very, very much. And so at the closure of this day, we started with Zamir speaking about beauty and the brain. And thank you, Ishu, because we experienced beauty at the end of this day. Thank you very much. You will experience that. And here, as a closure of this conference, we don't want to summarize what happened because you were here, so you are pretty aware of what's going on. We have just a few remarks that we want to make. Siew has some slides to present to us. And
I can just talk.
No, okay. And we started in these two days, and as I said this morning, so at the very beginning of the conference, when we announced the program, it sounded a bit fragmented because we had people from different fields, very, very different fields. But now I think you all understand that the discourse went on. We started from a certain point, and we are closing, explaining why we started in that way. So we were dealing with heritage in a second step. The first one was last year, as heritage science as a complex system. This year we focused on the creative industry, as Ben pointed out this morning, creativity industry, maybe. Creative industry, we approached it with all the problems of creative industry. And in the discussion of the first panel this morning, I think the problems came out. This conference is here, and I think we reached the results. So we have the people, the disciplines met, and now it is our duty to build up something from this. We understood that we have the energies, we have the skills, we have the knowledge, and we also have the problems to solve. Nothing is easy in the field of heritage, and what we heard from the discussion of the third panel, almost everything is a construction, is a human construction. And it is what heritage is. We are dealing with the treasure of human experience. And that's why, and we want to treasure it, and we want to be able to use it, to reuse it, as all the other generations did. But we would like to put a bit of science in it. I think we are the right generation to do it, and it is what we would like to do, building up a new science from heritage, using complexity as not as a lingua franca or as a tool, but as a friend with which we can work together in order to find solution to as much problems as we want. It is the optimistic vision. Now it's up to you.
Okay. I would like to thank all the speakers for coming. Like I always say that Andrea is an optimist, but I'm not a pessimist. I would like to think of myself as being realistic. It is true that we probably are at the right generation to deal with this kind of problem, but there's a lot of things that we still do not know. But after hearing the talks that were presented over the past 2 days, I think I have some ideas. So what I'm going to say is not quite the solution, but I think they can be they can become starting points for solutions. Let me first reflect on this notion of the digital versus the real. So the notes I have here I think has something to do with Professor Tui's talk. As our lives become more and more digital, do we become less and less human? Okay? And of course, I mean, the older generation seems to think so. The younger generation, the digital natives, they don't know what we mean. Because it's just like fish doesn't know water. It's the same kind of concept. We think we understand what being digital mean, but do we understand what being human mean? And this is not a biology question. And of course, if you talk to people from the humanities, people from the social sciences, they will talk not specifically about humanity, what the qualities of being human, but they talk about ethics. They talk about empathy, they talk about identity, and they talk about spirituality. And in the complex network language, these are qualities associated with the links, not with the nodes. That means, to put it in a less scientific or less complex network language, would be that being human is not so much about being me, being you, but it's about being between you and me. Okay? So to be human, I think, means to be connected to other humans, to be connected to the environments, and for some, to be connected to cosmic significance. Okay? And of course, there was this notion of authenticity. I was talking to Ross earlier on during the coffee break. He said that now if you recreate a cave, if there's a replica of the cave, he will not go because he doesn't feel that it's authentic. And I can understand where he's coming from. So all of us seek authenticity in human experience. So that's why we compare the heritage, the past, versus modernity and the present. And we kind of think of them as authentic versus fake. But I think we need to start understanding that the reason why we think of heritage as being authentic is because it is shared and it serves to connect. Now, what about the present? I think we must be fair. We must give time to the present so that there's enough time to form the connections. So the present is going to be the heritage of the future, but we must understand that it takes time for it to become heritage. So that's one. And then it comes to the point that the most important question, preservation versus creation. I think this tension is present in every age. It is not something new. And heritage exists because of this tension, actually not in spite of this tension. That's my belief. And as a complexity scientist, I am most interested in change and processes. So what kind of change can we manage? What kind of processes can we harness? Many processes lead to nowhere, but a few of them revolutionize. And therefore, we need to understand the nature of technology change and innovation, because that's pretty much the kind of things that was talked about in this conference. And so it's nice that I also work in other areas apart from heritage. I try to understand how scientists innovate. And actually, in the complexity conference, our flagship complexity conference last year, somebody suggested, so he has done a lot of research based on the Web of Science. And the interesting thing is, this is the key thing the key message that I think he has tried to bring across, is that research suggests that the more old parts a new thing has, the more readily it is accepted. So if it is completely new, it is very difficult to accept because we don't know how to anchor it in our lives. But if it is only partly new, we start to know how to. So this comes the question. This addresses kind of partly the question of reuse of heritage. Heritage is old stuff. We want to use it in new ways. So we need to find the balance between the old and the new. And finally, let me reflect on the concept of beauty and truth, as mentioned by Professor Zaki. And I think, is he here now? No. Okay. But I don't think he will I don't think he will I don't think he will object if I say that beauty is a perception of truth. But again, what is truth? It's related to the concept of authenticity. If I have a painting, if I have a photograph, obviously the painting is an impression, whereas the photograph is a reproduction, in some sense, of the lighting conditions associated with truth. But some people may feel that a painting is more true than a photograph. And the reason for that is because there is connection to human experience. So the artist is capable of infusing human experience into a painting, whereas a photograph, you need to have, photographers can do it too. And of course, I don't know how they do it, but I sometimes when I look at a photograph, I get that sense. And obviously, the stronger the connection, the greater the truth. And therefore, let me just end this summary. Andrea said not to summarize, but let me just end this by saying that perhaps in order to seek truth, we need to seek the connections. And that is, I guess, the right theme for this year's Complexity Conference, which is, no, that was last year's Complexity Conference, Hidden Connections, but this year we will be talking about emerging patterns. Okay, so that's all I have to say. Do we have to do anything else?
We have 5 minutes more, so that we want, I think what we want to do, thank you. So, what we want to do is to thank you all for being here, and it was great. First of all, thank to the speakers, to the chairs, to the audience, and we would like to give the big thank to the people that are outside here, and especially to Karen Cheong that took a lot of care of all of us. And she brought you here, she took care of the food, of the organization, and of all the other things that we didn't see. But everything went very well and smoothly because she was outside there taking care of us. And that's why we were quite relaxed and laughing and enjoying your company because we knew that she was outside. And so here, thanks again very, very much. I think we built up a very good team in different panels, and what we envisage is that this panel will start work after the conference. I have a few ideas, and I will approach you. I think Xuan has as well, and we are willing to work at a book. We have two good publishers that offered us to work on it, and we would like to work on a theme. We will approach you in order to pick up some papers from last year, some paper from this year, and to ask you if you want to rework on what you are doing and approaching for something that could be a handbook on heritage science and complexity, or complexity and heritage science. Not sure yet. We will see. We'll figure it out. But anyway, thank you very much, and we invite you to the reception that is there just to chat and to go on with what we started at the conference. Thank you very, very much again. Oh. Here she is, here she is, here she is. Okay, okay, yes, so the cocktail will arrive at 6, so we have time. If we want to chat a bit more, we will stay outside, so because we thought we could have run out of time, but we did really perfectly, so it's just really good. Thank you very much.